This is my rock crusher I got from an auction recently. This is an import from China. It came in a container with all kinds of equipment to be sold at auction here in the US. Technically, this is called a trailed crusher because there's an option for one with tracks on it, and this one is a trailer with wheels, which I thought would be kind of handy because then I can just hook it to a mini skid steer and move it anywhere around my property that I want to. So today I'm going to dig into this and I'm going to show you what this thing is like, and we're going to find out if this thing actually works and if it's worthwhile and if it's something that you might want to purchase for your property. Now you might be asking yourself, what is a trailed crusher? Well, you put rocks in it and gravel comes out the conveyor belt at the end. So up front here, we have a little gas engine. On the back side here, there is a conveyor belt. It's hooked up with chains right now. You let the chains out and that will come out and you can dump it into a dumper or something. Right now I have it set up on these jacks. Clearly the wheels are off the ground. There's a trailer tongue that goes on it that I don't have on it right now because I trailered it here. You can see the little battery. Here's your little 500cc Ratto 19.5 horse engine, and this is your ignition key. This lever, this starts the conveyor going away from the machine. This brings it back. Why you'd want to bring it back, I do not know. It has cool little fenders on it. And now inside has these two plates. This plate is stationary and this one just moves back and forth and it crushes rocks. So you can see it has grease points everywhere you need a grease point to be, every moving area. Now this motor, I guess the paint's not very good because while driving here today, the paint was flaking off it. So I'm probably going to need to paint that something other than the rust color coming soon. Yeah, check that out. That's some pretty wimpy paint on there. So that's pretty much the tour of it. Now it's got this shim here. I believe you can take that out or add more to it, and that would change the size of the gravel that comes out, which is kind of cool. And these panels, you can unbolt all these panels and take it apart and get in there, and then you can see what's going on. I'm not going to do that today, but if I do break something, I'm going to have to do that. This is your gas fill port, which is fairly easy to get to, and that's about it. It is a pretty darn simple machine, and there's not a whole lot to it. So hopefully, in its simplicity, it works really well too. Step one is I need to put the tongue on. This tongue just slides on to the front here. And once you have it slid on, there's just 3 bolts that go in. I personally like to always start bolts by hand because I do not want to cross thread. I did forget to mention there is a little wheel on the front here, so you can roll it around. It looks like, I haven't messed with it, it looks like there's a pin here and I can take this wheel off or move it down and have it different heights. And that's kind of a nice touch. So I have this really cool attachment for my mini skid steer. It's a little trailer hitch. So it's a 2-inch ball and I'm gonna hook it up to this. And once I hook it up, then I'm gonna lower my jacks, raise my jacks, put it on its wheels, and we'll get it off the trailer. Now that it's snapped in, I'm going to raise the jacks. The jacks have little cotter pins and a pin that goes through to hold them on, and you can take them, flip them up, put your pin back in and your cotter pin back in. Just wanted to point out my new shirt I just got. Pretty happy about my shirt, by the way. Our Life in Trees. Here we are, we're ready to roll. Make sure you have your arms at the right height, because it could become kind of tippy. So now I've got it in place. We're about to fire this up. That's the conveyor belt all the way down. And today I'm gonna start off with some shale. I'm gonna try maybe some concrete, and then I'm gonna try some river rock. Because we have piles and piles of shale out here. I just had a few dump trucks of shale brought in, so we'll try some of the bigger pieces. Lots of frogs. But there is no shortage of rocks here, if you can't tell. I have all the river rock one could dream of. There's rocks everywhere. So I'm going to try some of that, and I'm going to see how that works. But we're going to start with the easiest, the shale, move to the concrete. Some good shale pieces here. And then we're going to finish off and see if we can do some river rock. So you come over here, flick on the choke, and start it. Now it's running, but nothing. See, it's crushing. This is the conveyor belt. But you can really see why you want it on jacks. Rocks. Gravel. So now I have some random chunks of concrete I'm going to throw in here. Concrete's easy. Now here's the real test. I'm going to throw a river rock in and see what kind of gravel it makes, or if it breaks the machine. This came from my creek. River rock gravel. That's it right there. But it throws rocks off the side quite a bit. Run it the other way, clean it out, flick it back. All right, let's do some more river rock. That worked really well. Okay, so these are good looking rocks, and we have tons of them, like thousands of them. That was no big deal. This thing's pretty awesome. I don't have much bad to say about it right now. I didn't even have it on the jacks. What I'd like to do is I've got some projects coming up where I would like to take my mini skid and the bucket and just pick up piles of stone, rock, concrete, aggregate of some sort, dump it in there and really run it. And I want to run this into my little dumper trucker, which I've got over there under the cabin. And that would be amazing. Wow. You know what? I'm gonna try that real quick and see how it works. I'm just gonna move it over here real quick so I can really play with this thing. But I'm stuck. Can't push it up. I'm gonna get a bigger machine. So I've run into a little problem. I know, I've got the fix. Still not there. Got it. That's what I was trying to do. Here you go. Nope, now the belt's off. Ugh. So, this is not working. That will work. So what was happening was the belt was touching the side here. It was rubbing. So you have to let it lay like this. Otherwise, if it's off a little bit, the belt won't be centered anymore. There we go. That's it. That's what I was doing. So any rocks that were in here are now going to be crushed up. Now there's a lot that's not really rocky. So some of this stuff, I don't know, this is wet and muddy. I just want to see what it'll do. But there are no big rocks coming out of this. Make sure if you're going to get a scoop of material, you don't have muddy shale in it, because you could clog your crusher. And if you do that, it won't work. I think the next thing I need to run through this is a whole bunch of water. Man, I got a muddy scoop. I did not mean to do that. The jaw crusher will not crush if it's jammed with mud. Imagine how tightly packed it is down in there with me running it with all that mud in it. That was a bad call. Never let your power washer hose hits your exhaust on your power washer. So. I've got a whole bunch more to come from the rock crusher. It works pretty darn well. Never put muddy rocks in your rock crusher because it'll pack the mud and you can't get it out. And then to get it out, you're probably going to get yourself all muddy, all dirty, break a hose, get wet. Anyway, I've got a bunch more to do with this thing. I'm going to make some gravel. This is not the last you've seen of it. I'm actually going to set it up properly. I'm going to put it up on its jacks. If I did that, I think I'd be able to get it into the back of the dumper trucker. And then I can get a whole load of gravel. If I had some clean gravel, not wet, muddy, nasty shale, pick it up and drop it in here, or use the mini excavator thumb and put rocks in here. Yeah, I think it would work really well, but that's not today. Today, I'm gonna go put dry socks on. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching. I'm glad you all can learn from my mistakes. I'm no professional. I'm no operator. I'm just some guy with some cool toys out here in the woods. So if you like this sort of stuff, if you want to see more, like and subscribe. Besides that, enjoy your time out here in the trees. Even when I'm wet and muddy, I still really do. Have yourself a great day, and we'll see you in the next one.